Hi, friends. It's John from Salesaurus, and I'm here to tell you about a local convention called Showcase Comic Con. I recently vended at the 9th incarnation of this event, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of info about it and show you how I set up for this show, and then kind of give you a walk around tour of the event, and then just kind of give you my thoughts about how it went and how I felt about it, and I guess that's about it. So Showcase Comic Con is a locally run event put on by a local shop called Showcase Comics. Big surprise, right? It's run by friends of mine, so I have vended at every single one of them so far. And, it's always a good time being there, but the attendance has been some very high highs and some fairly low lows. So it's one of those events. I never miss it because it's basically in my backyard. So you saw me load up the van there, and now you see me on my way, the very quick drive from my home to the Harbor Center, which is where every one of Showcase Comic Con has taken place. And you can see Ghidorah is my co-pilot. So an interesting element of this convention is that there was going to be a karate tournament taking place in the adjacent hall. So we had that as a very interesting variable to consider. So anytime you vend at a convention, one of the most grueling aspects is going to be taking all of the stuff that you decided to sell and bringing it into the hall. So here I am bringing in the very last items, the grid wall, the heaviest and most cumbersome things to carry into the room. One last little. Thankfully, they did have early setup, so I was able to take my time and just make sure I got everything where I wanted it to be. That's where my spot is. They're all the way at the end of the hall, right up front. That's the first thing people saw as they came into the building. Now, I'm far from a professional at this. I guess I kind of am a professional, but I'm not always doing things the best way that I can. You'll notice that as I'm setting these things up, I'm kind of scatterbrained. 1 minute I'm putting up shelves, 1 minute I'm setting up tablecloths, but what I've learned is that the general best practices is to get all of your fixtures in place first. Set up your grid wall, set up your shelves, set up your tabletop shelves and your tables and everything. Get all of that in place first so you know where it's going to be, and then start placing toys. It's very important to make sure that you use as much height as you can. Of course, some venues are going to have different requirements in place. You may not be able to go up as high as I have with my grid wall over there. But people's eyes are not at table level. So the more things you can put right in front of their eyes, the more likely they are to see something they've got to have. So here I am at lightning speed placing magnets on our boards. I don't know if you've seen them before, but we do make handcrafted trading card magnets that you can use to cover up your refrigerator. And I take great pride in making sure that these boards look different every time somebody sees them. If I could move this fast in real life, I may have actually had a career in sports. The gentleman that you see whipping past on his phone multiple times, that's Travis. He's one of the organizers of this event and a very good friend of mine. He was working hard on multiple things while we were all setting up. Here we see Travis taking a rare moment of respite from his flurry of activities. As I mentioned, you have to use the height, and I have these shelves on top of tables that I then put these shoe boxes on top of, and then fill those with action figures. One of my favorite things about vending is coming up with new ways to lay things out and make them look fancy and special so they catch people's eyes. I don't know that I'm always successful with that, but it's fun to brainstorm and try and come up with what worked and what didn't work. And as important as it is to get these toys in front of people's eyes, it is also extremely time consuming to make sure all of these guys will stand up, kind of put them in a place where they're with similar other products, and just make sure it's not too crowded so people's eyes glaze over and they just don't see something that they may have actually wanted to buy. One thing I was excited about for this show were these small display cases that you can kind of see almost directly in the middle of the screen. I just recently got those and kind of set up figures I thought were cool in there, hopefully to get more eyes on them than just being in a bin or hanging up from pegs. Let me know what you think of them. I tried to get fancy this time around with multiple camera angles. Hope you appreciate it. Even if you didn't, I got to play around with my camera, so who really wins in this scenario? So here I am walking into Showcase Comic Con a little later in the day after some of the crowds had thinned down. I'm walking past my own booth first. But we'll take a little bit of a closer look at that a little later. Here's the Showcase Comics booth with some extremely impressive slabs here, including giant-size X-Men, some old Batman, Action Comics. Oh, and of course Venom Lethal Protector. Some more very nice comic books for your perusal. Here we have the booth of the proprietors of STCC, another local convention that I really like. They're wonderful folks, and always have a nice selection of stuff. Always heavy on the Star Wars, and often on the G.I. Joe, but they also had some really nice comics in those boxes there. Found a new comic in there that I might have to get my hands on, and that's the first full appearance of Bosk in a comic book. And then here we have a map of lost treasures with a very eclectic selection of items. I do mean that as a compliment. He's got these flying things, which are basically gross out gliders. I definitely remember having one of those growing up, but did not buy one this time. He also had a huge Hellboy figure. It was a large Rotocast Mezco that I was definitely thinking about picking up, but my friend Eric decided to buy it before I did. So shout out Eric, thanks for jumping on that for me. Also at this booth, but kind of hard to see, was some very nice Dino Riders sets with lots of the parts, possibly even complete. I'm going to have to take a closer look at those the next time I see this booth. See if I need to bring those home with me. You can see them kind of right there, pointed at them right there. Just don't see Dino Riders with most of the parts very often, if at all. And here we have some toys that I'm pretty sure are just following me everywhere I go. If you saw my BSI Comics or my Artcraft Studios walkthrough, you'll notice that a lot of those toys on the floor here were in both of those videos. And these are the exact same toys, so I must have some kind of magnetism that attracts Captain Picard busts and Python Patrol and Conquests. I just don't know what's going on. Spoke with this gentleman for quite a long time. He was really chill. And then we have a very talented artist. He was not at the booth though. Probably doing the same thing I was, walking around and seeing what he could find. We got some modern trading cards. They did have some Garbage Pail Kids, but they were more recent ones, and I just can't get myself to spend too much money on those. At least not today. Maybe in the future. There's a lot of Star Wars and Star Trek items on this guy's table. I get the feeling that if I was more into Star Trek, I would have probably bought a lot of this stuff. I think those little Mega Bloks sets are pretty sweet. And I like the Micro Machines too. I did end up buying one thing from this booth there called The Collection. It wasn't a Funko Pop though, so, you know, save your jabs, I guess. It was actually a comic book, but you'll have to stay tuned till the end of the video to see what I bought. Over here is Diebold Press. They're at a lot of local events. They always have some really cool looking t-shirts and artwork. I know they're small press indie comic book folks. And here we have Busta from Quintessential Comics. I see him at a lot of local events, including the BSI pop-up event. And he's a great dude. Always has a nice selection of comics and toys at great prices. And, you know, just always fun to see the same faces over and over again, so you never feel alone. Yeah, I don't care what time they come in.
All these are $1 for sports packs.
So that's all sports?
Yeah, all sports. Yeah, cool. I got the Pokemon she's got here. She's got a few back here on the table.
Okay. I like the old like non-sports like
I got a few
random packs like that.
There's some. I know there's some X-Men's in here.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
There's some. There's some Lion Kings.
I could not grab these X-Men packs fast enough. I was very excited to see some Fleer Ultra X-Men 95 packs in this random assortment. And honestly, pretty happy about the Lion King packs too.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'd like to.
Really nice folks. Another set of people that I've seen at lots of local events, but I don't know them too well, so I'm going to have to investigate, get back to you, and let you know who those people were. This booth is the Fortress of Solitude. Consistent show-ups at local events. Really nice folks. Always have a cool spread of stuff, and always have great stories to share too. We share a love of oddball trading cards, and I often end up picking up trading cards from them, and today was no exception. First, I had to pick up this big box PC game that I've never seen before. Still don't really know anything about it, but I like the art on there. But of course, the trading cards are what drew me, what ultimately got my money. One of these days I need to grow another arm to make it easier to look at stuff once I've bought something. They had packs of several different types of, I guess you'd call them kind of girly cards, like the bench warmer and the dolls and stuff like that. I didn't buy any of those, and at this point, I don't understand why. I just can't understand why. My friend David telling me I already have way too many cards. Joke's on him, though. Billy gave me a great deal on these packs, and I'll get him back one of these days. I'll get some more. It's another nice local vendor. He had some really cool Lord of the Rings stuff, including some figures that I bought earlier in the day. Unfortunately, those aren't going to show up in the haul because I lost them, which is kind of a pretty standard thing to happen when you're packing up all your stuff trying to get it home. He also had the Loyal Subjects Thunderhawk and Condor reissues at very good prices. I really should have bought those, but somebody else beat me to it. Again, thanks to whoever that was. Here towards the back, we have some of the guests. We have Vernon Smith, another local artist, published artist. Here is Steve Levine's table. If you're not familiar with him, he's a very integral part of the early days of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I guess is still active in that now. But he must have been walking around just like I was. And it's not a comic convention these days without Pokemon sellers, and there were several at this place. Here's the table of another local artist, Robbie Musso, very talented robot drawer, also a very nice fellow. And there's the AT-AT that I bought. It's hiding under the table there. No wonder no one else bought it. We have another local-ish celebrity, the guy from the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The shoe's on the other foot now. Here we have the booth of Scotty from Bros Before Shows. Great selection of vintage G.I. Joes. I actually missed an entire spinner rack in the middle of the booth full of loose Joes. A lot of great comic books and some turtles here in the box. They have a YouTube channel where they walk around at local conventions and also do interviews and stuff with people who visit. Definitely worth checking out. One of the coolest things in this booth, though, was this vintage Lego set that they had priced at $200. I have not looked it up, but knowing them, I bet you that's a very low price. And coming around the corner here, we have Azure Comics, another local comic shop out of, I believe, Poplarville, Mississippi. And somehow this man always finds loose Transformers to sell. I don't know what kind of advertisements he puts out, but every time I see him, he has comic books, trading cards, and Transformers. That's it. Speaking of trading cards, he had some really cool old Magic packs. It feels strange to say that they're old, but it was an old core set, original Innistrad, and I believe Scars of Mirrodin. And his prices were fair. I did not buy them this time around, but I'm sure I'll be tempted next time I see him. Here in the background, we have what I would say is the biggest celebrity at this event, and it's Raven from ECW. I did not stop and talk with him because I don't know, I just got a little nervous. But man, I still remember watching him on the ECW on public access in the middle of the night. And then I just walked past Michael Papajohn, another celebrity here. If you don't recognize him, you should. He is the guy who kills Uncle Ben in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Really nice guy, really great with the fans. And here we have another friend's booth, Jonathan Robinson. Always has the great vintage stuff. Check out that weird Cobra tank that looks like a snake head. Never seen that before. It's got some great Legos and always tons of dig bins. You know, just a booth you could spend hours in if you wanted to, and you probably would find something that you didn't know you needed. Here I ran into a fellow that always buys a Robin Hood Prince of Thieves pack from me every show. Gosh, you always got to give those Kenner Star Wars figures a second look, you know? Do I need an Ugnaught today? Maybe not today. And the final booths over here are some crafters. This is a young lady that hand sews her plushes, and then we have Dolores with her journals and paper products, and then an artist whose name escapes me at the moment. So as we walk through my booth here, right at the end, let's talk about this event. So attendance, not that great. We had some very excited customers who were very happy to be there, but you know, there could have been a lot more. With that said, for such a small con, I think the quality of the vendors was very high. I saw all kinds of cool stuff, modern, vintage, and everything in between, cards, comics, and toys. Whatever you're looking for, you probably could have found something to buy if you tried. So that gives me high hopes for the future. I think with this kind of a baseline of quality, things can only get better. And then at the end of the day, I got to hang out with a bunch of people that I like, and that has value too. It's just unfortunate that, you know, money is needed to exist at all. Well, that's the end of my walkthrough, but don't leave yet. You gotta see what I went home with, and I think I did pretty well. Hey, what's up? I just got back from Showcase Comic Con number 9, and here is my haul. Well, it's most of my haul. You may have seen in the video that I did get a beautiful vintage collection AT-AT Walker, but it's not going to fit on my filming space, so you're going to have to settle for the pictures that I put up right here and right here. And I also got some Lord of the Rings figures from a buddy there, and I don't know what I did with them. But beyond those items, here's my haul. So the first thing that I picked up that I knew I had to have it, these beautiful Darkhawk comic books. Now, I started buying Darkhawk comics because I loved him as a kid. I loved just the goofy design. I've talked about it multiple times on the channel, and I just wanted to start getting this run kind of as an excuse to look through comic boxes when I'm out with my buddy Trey, who's a lot more of a comic collector than I am. So I decided that I was going to collect Darkhawk, Slapstick, Ninjak, and Bloodshot. The Bloodshot kind of because of his first appearance of Ninjak in there, that gave me an excuse to start buying Bloodshot comic books. Even though I don't know that I've ever read a Bloodshot comic book, even as a kid. But hey, I'm buying them now. But so I found the number. Let's see. I think it was this one. Just based on it having different a different pricing sticker on it. I'm pretty sure I found this one from a vendor called The Collection, and then later on I found the rest of these from Kiss Comics, which is another vendor. Both of these comic vendors are at pretty much every local show that I go to, and I guess I just haven't taken the time to look through their stuff. So we got number 2, which I had number 1 already, but so I got to get number 3, and then I'll be all caught up. And then we have 13 all the way up to 18, and they're not in order. Let me fix that. So then we have 13 all the way up to 18. So I'm making some progress on my Darkhawk run. The next thing that I decided to buy were these packs of non-sports cards. I stopped at a vendor, I believe called Ace Comics, and at first it seemed like all they had was sports cards and Pokemon, and you probably saw in the video already that I mentioned non-sports cards, and he grabbed one of these 95 Fleer Ultra X-Men packs and was like, oh, I think I got some of these. So this was a heck of a score to get these for such a low price. I'm definitely going to open one of these as soon as I'm done showing you the rest of my haul, but you'll see the rest of them opened up throughout the rest of my career on YouTube here. And then also from the same guy, almost got these just because, like, well, I paid such a cheap price for these X-Men packs. I almost felt like I owed it to him to grab these Lion King packs. But hey, these are cool too. And then the final items came from some friends of mine, the Fortress of Solitude. They always have a cool selection of interesting packs, and they have these Mad packs, which I'm very excited to open those. Got Hershey's trading cards. I'll have to taste one of those. We got Maverick the movie. So just, I mean, how many jokes about looking at these cards am I going to get to make? National Lampoon, Classic Toys, and Guinness Book of World Records. Just what a great assortment. Also from Fortress of Solitude, they had some really cool looking like Benchwarmer and The Dolls packs that I kind of regret passing up on those. So next time I see those guys, I'm probably going to grab a bunch of those packs from them. Alright, well, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time. I really had a fun at Showcase Comic Con 9. And obviously, I'm real thrilled with the things that I brought home. So let's open this pack of Fleer X-Men cards. I'm sure I've opened these before in, the previous parts of my life, but I know I've never had one on the YouTube channel, so it's a banner day. We're starting it off with Dark Phoenix here, and I guess this is kind of our moment of truth. We figure out if these cards are bricked, how badly they're bricked. Oh, hey, not bad. Very light little peeling, but nothing to really be too upset about. We got Havoc. We got Greatest Battles, Cyclops versus Sinister. This one has it's a different kind of foiling on there. Is that some kind of an insert that I'm not aware of? No, doesn't look like it. Okay. We got Ascani. Now, I know I've had this card before. I probably just got it in a lot of random stuff. There's Fatal Attractions. Look at that gorgeous art. That's got to be Hildebrandt, right? Let's see if it... Yeah, look at that. Greg and Tim. Gorgeous. Okay. We got Tapestry. Is that the same as Megan? I'm not up on my Excalibur characters. Oh yeah, there we go. Megan. All right. We got Husk. No, M from Generation X. This one not in the greatest condition. Old cards do tend to stick together in the pack. We got a beautiful Rogue. Oh, and I see some kind of an insert back there. I picked the right pack to open. I'll slow roll us here. We got Cable. We saw him when we first opened the pack. That's cool art of Cable. And it looks like that's it. We have a really nice looking Archangel. What does that say? Sinister Observations of Archangel. So definitely some kind of an insert there. 1 of 10. Since your wings are razor tipped, clipping them will be a feather in my cap. Nice. Well, thanks again for watching my video. Hope you liked it. Let me know what you thought about it. And until next time, let's all try to stay cool. And I'll see you again real soon.